Hello everyone, I am Dr. Ankit Agrawal. I am currently working as an assistant professor in School of Biotechnology, IFTM University, Moradabad. Today we are going to discuss about a very interesting topic, that is Introduction to Nanotechnology. So if we talk about the nano, we know that it is a unit of which comes under the 1 billionth of a meter. And if we talk about the technology, we know that it is a use of machines, tools and techniques which can make our life better to solve a problem for a specific function. So if we talk about the proper definition of nanotechnology, it is a branch of technology which deals with the study of materials and molecules or particles that comes under the size of 1 to 100 nanometer. The nanotechnology mainly consists of the processing and consolidation of deformation and formation of the atoms or molecules within this 1 to 100 nanometer range. If we talk about the nanometer scale, that how we can visualize that in which scale the molecules lie in nanometer. So we can visualize that the size of DNA, antibody, oligonucleotides, proteins comes under the range of 1 to 100 nanometer. There are many types of nanoparticles such as fullerenes, dendrimers, cold nanoparticle, metal nanoparticle, polymers, liposomes, dendrimers, quantum dots, etc. So nanotechnology is not very new. It was evolved pre-earlier, about 1000 years ago. Different sizes of gold nanoparticles were studied to paint the glass windows to make them better visualization. Also 2000 years ago, Roman and Greek civilization used sulfide nanocrystals to dye their hairs. And about the 4th century, there was a cup designed by the Roman civilization known as Lycurgus cup, which turned pink when the plain light passes through that cup. So it was also an example of the nanotechnology where gold and silver plated nanoparticles were used. Also in nature we can see that the butterfly wings are colorful and they project different type of color when light and different wavelength goes through their wings. So it is happens because the scales presented in their wings are generally in the size range of 1 to 400 nanometer. And due to the different wavelength pattern strikes on the wings, the different types of colors are visualized. Also, there is an example in nature of a gecko, that is a lizard, which has the nano types of scales on their palms to adhere them on the different types of surfaces. The size of their spikes are 200 nanometer in a range. So if we talk about the what dimensions are there of nanoparticles, so we can say that there are 0-dimension nanoparticles which are ranged from 1 to 50 nanometer. Next, there are 1-dimension nanoparticles. We can say that nanotubes which have only few nanometer in length, which are long nanotubes, for example carbon nanotubes. Other than that, we have 2-dimension nanoparticles such as nanofibers, nanocoating, thin films, nano flares, nanoballs, nanosheets. These have an area of large several square micrometers and but comes under the nanoscale range. Then next there are the 3-dimensional nanoparticles, that includes the bulk nanoparticles composed of individual block or atom that is a range of 1 to 100 nanometer. For example, cadmium, selenium, zinc. Then comes another that what type of nanomaterials are there. Yeah, or we can say that how many type of nanomaterial has been engineered by the scientists. So there are 4 carbon-based nanoparticles, metal-based nanoparticles, tetramers, and composite nanoparticles. So because of their unique properties and designs, they are classified according to their needs and their applications. For example, carbon nanomaterial. If we talk about the carbon nanomaterial, we can say that carbon nanotubes, graphenes, fullerenes, carbon dots. If we talk about the organic nanomaterial, we can say that the liposomes are there, dendrimers are there, hybrids and polymers are there. If we talk about the organic nanoparticle, then one thing comes under our mind, there is the metal nanoparticles and non-metal nanoparticles. So the big question is that how we can make these nanoparticles. So question is the fabrication of nanoparticles. The fabrication of nanoparticles is a process in which the nanotechnology explores the novel properties and phenomena of these nanomaterials to realize their potential application in a wide variety of areas, and what are the methods used to fabricate them. So, when we are fabricating the nanoparticles, certain criteria should be fulfilled. For example, controlling the particle size, controlling the shape of nanoparticle, their structure and crystalline property, and particle size distribution in the liquid medium. So there are three fabrication approaches: physical method, chemical method, and biological method. And these three methods comes under two types of fabrication approaches: top-down and bottom-up. So in top-down approach, in which involves the breaking down of bulk material into small nano-sized structures, are called top-down approach. The top-down synthesis techniques are extension of those that have been used for producing micron-sized particles. So first we take a photoresistor coating done on the substrate, then it is exposed to UV light, and then the light is exposed to that substrate, and it is cut into several smaller pieces. If we talk about the bottom-up approaches, it refers to the building up of a material from a simple atom to the molecule. Atom by atom they are joined together, and molecule by molecule they are joined together to form a cluster. Many of these techniques are still in developmental phase, but they are commercially produced nanopowders which are made from this bottom-up approach. So after the material making, nanoparticle making, there are characterization of nanoparticle, which means to determine what are the properties of these nanoparticles. So there are size and surface morphology, specific surface area, surface charge density, molecular weight measurements, drug entrapment efficiency, kinetic study, stability of the nanoparticle, drug excipient compatibility, and in vitro release studies. So to determine the shape of the nanoparticle, we can use scanning electron microscopy and transmission electron microscopy. Scanning electron microscopy generally generates a high resolution and high magnification images of three-dimensional structure of the nanoparticles, and the TAM helps to visualize the detailed quantitative and qualitative chemical formation of that nanoparticle. Then the surface charge characterization is very essential property of nanoparticles, which affect the dispersion and stability or aggregation state of nanoparticle in the liquid medium. The surface charge is also tend to repel each other and form a stable colloidal suspension in liquid media. So it is so we can calculate the surface charge by using the zeta potential measurement using the zeta sizer. Also, by using the UV visual spectrophotometry, we can determine the optical properties of nanoparticles. Specific wavelength 200 to 600 nanometer, 200 to 300, 400. These type of nanometer ranges are taken to check the properties of nanoparticle. Either they are formed or they are not formed. Also, the chemical structure and substructure and composition are determined by the X-ray diffraction technique to study the crystalline nature of the material by using X-ray wavelengths. So if we talk about the applications of nanotechnology, there are wide variety of areas where nanotechnology has been making their space. So to the economic growth, to enhance the national security, to improve the quality of life, and to leading the job creation. Such as the electronics, metallurgy, defense and security, energy storage, food technology, food science, biomedical and drug delivery, agriculture and food, cosmetics, or everywhere, biotechnology, everywhere there is nanotechnology. In medicine, we can see that the drug delivery methods and drug therapy methods use the nanotechnology to enable drugs to be delivered to precisely right location. Such as nanorobotics, nanosponges are used to engineer the cells or to correct the tissues engineering. Okay, so if we talk about the nanotechnology in fabrics, we can say the nano-sized component. For example, some clothing manufacturers use making of water repellent clothing by using nano-sized whiskers on the fabric that causes the repellation of water from that surface. In electronics, nanotechnology has been developed super hydrophobic, extremely dirt repellent electronics which are working so greatly in liquid medium. Also, if any water spill is on there, it can withstand that nanowire grasses charge, which charges itself. In computer and certain silicon-based chips, the carbon nanotubes are making their payoff. A carbon nanotube is a molecule in form of a hollow cylinder with a diameter of at least around a nanometer, which consists of pure carbon. These technologies are upcoming technology which uses less consumption of electricity and provide a less heat emission and provide better results. In defense and security, also bulletproof jackets are also making up by the use of nanotechnology, which absorb more and more shock from the bullets and other objects. In sensory devices, there are nanosensors which are using in agriculture as well as in other areas, which uses the vertical types of carbon nanotubes that grown on a silicon chip. So there are different types of nano-based chips which are used to analyze in biotechnology to analyze the DNA sample, RNA sample, or in other areas. So this chart is showing that nanotechnology in agriculture is very booming technology for crop improvement, for precision farming, for insect and pest resistance, for environmental stress resistance, for growth, for crop growth, for soil health enhancement. Okay. So these are the some universities, institutions, and labs which are working in nanotechnology fields, and there are the major industries that are using the products of nanotechnology, and they are the manufacturers of their companies. So in the future, the scientists are developing the lighter, stronger, and programmable material that can require less energy and produce the conventional material that promise greater fuel efficiency and transportation ships in aircraft and space vehicles. Thank you.